everyone. So this is Black Angel again, and I'm here with my first live ever. So before we actually start talking about the topic I'm going to talk about tonight, I will wait a few minutes to see if people will join or anything. I do not expect a lot of people, or actually, I do not expect people at all. Uh, but hey, hi, the first arrival. So yeah, I didn't expect many to join, or don't expect many to join. But anyway, because this is the first time that I do this, but this is kind of training because I would want to open my Twitch channel in the next year. So this is going to be like training and a little bit of attempt to handle the chat while talking about important topics. So I also have my book here, my own book. I think it's written on the contrary. I don't know what missed. Anyway, that's my book, the English version, the first one. I'm currently translating the second one, and we will probably have some time to go through that too. But the main topic, I think, is going to be extroverted sensing and extroverted feeling. So someone joined, but then they ran away. They thought it's okay. Anyway, so let's start. If you want to tell me that the volume is too loud, I will try to move the microphone away. If something doesn't work for you or you want to communicate with me, feel free to join in the chat, write me. I will do my best to answer to you. So once again, like I said, first things first, remember the appointment on Twitch in the next year, so in the new year, which is going to be around January, February, I'm not sure yet, 2021. That's when I expect to open my Twitch channel. Name of the Twitch channel is Blackie Black Angel. So it's a single word, Blackie Black Angel altogether. So now, extroverted feeling, extroverted sensing. I thought about these two things because I currently start analyzing extroverted senses a lot, especially ESFPs. So I've been having a lot to do with ESFPs, and I've had a lot of chances to see how they think. So I was thinking extroverted feeling mainly for a reason. I saw the big difference live between an ESTP and an ESFP when it comes to people. So when it comes to people, extrovert sensors are probably among the most difficult types, no matter if they're feelers or thinkers. And that's because extroverted sensing wants to be accepted. It's an extreme function. We're talking about extreme levels of stamina. We're talking about someone that is like a nuclear bomb of energy. And extroverted sensors, ESFPs, that's what what I want to talk about. ESFPs actually have this extreme energy, and also they're not the most diplomatic of types. They actually tell you in the face what they think. Introverted feeling also has to do with honesty in some way. So they're kind of creative with their honesty. And I'm not entirely sure what that actually means yet. But anyway, that thing exists there. But what I wanted to mention tonight is that ESFPs have this. Thank you for the like, and welcome the third person. So ESFPs and ESTPs. This is what I wanted to tell you. So ESTPs and ESFPs have a different approach to people. So if you want to split the two types in matters of extroverted sensing and how they approach others, here is one thing that is going to be a telltale that you're having to do with one type or the other. So if you're talking with an ESTP, the ESTP is going to claim that they always treat everyone equally. And that's very important for an extroverted feeling type, but to treat everyone equally. That would mean that the ESTP has the ability to be liked by everyone And for an ESTP, being liked by everyone is a matter of self-esteem. So that's what they're going to claim. That's what they're going to try to even pull off. I think that's the right expression. So yeah, that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to actually treat everyone the same way, to treat everyone equally. It's not possible. We know that it's not likely that someone achieves such an endeavor. Treating people equally would mean that you also consider them equally. And deep down, even an ESTP has preferences. And that's what actually the theory says about it. ESFP, on the other hand, I've had to do with an ESFP streamer recently. Awesome streamer. ESPs are like first line performers, and they are awesome in that sense. So when we're dealing with ESFPs, I kind of played a little bit, and I wrote in the chat, and I'm like, oh, you're great at treating everyone equally. I wanted to see what happened, what would happen. And what happened was that I got punched in the face with demonstrative extroverted feeling, as it's called in socionics. So the guy told me that, yeah, he tries to treat everyone equally as much as possible, but not because it's important to treat everyone equally, rather because we are all equal. But at the same time, it's not true. That's what he said. It's not true that that all the people that join his lives or his accounts or him that follow him are equal, because people who have been with him for a longer time are obviously closer to his heart than the others are. I personally experienced something similar. So there's people that know how to handle me, you know that I'm not easy to handle. And there's people who actually cannot handle me at all. But that's not just that. I have a harder time blocking or excluding from the channel people that have been here for 6 years, rather than 5 years. I don't remember exactly. That's roughly the time we've been here. Rather than people that have just arrived and start with insults. So an insult from someone that has been here for a long time is actually more difficult to handle than an insult from someone that has been here for a few hours or just arrived. So I agree with that. At the same time, it struck me that someone would tell that in front of like 150 people watching him live, and he had no remorse and he wasn't shy about it. So this is why I wanted to mention this topic. And it struck me also because I'm pretty sure the guy's an ESFP. And extroverted sensing dominants actually need to find an environment where they can feel comfortable. Another thing that you will find in the theory, if you look up on Wikistation, for example, another thing that you will find is that an extroverted sensing dominant type, so we're talking ESFPs and ESTPs, obviously, will have difficulties in feeling at ease if they're not fully accepted. So they will make a couple of attempts, but if things are not going as they expect, or they do not feel welcome in the environment or place where they are going to say, this is not my place, I'm gonna go away. It's more of an ESTP kind of thing, but ESFPs are also the kind of person that can do the kind of reasonment. So if on one side, I do agree that with someone said this thing, so that's why I mention it. Anyway, someone said that extroverted sensing and extroverted feeling are the two necessary functions to build a community. And honestly, I strongly agree with that, because extroverted sensing helps a person make people do what they want, kind of. It's not exactly like that. It's not like they go whip people and force them to do whatever the fuck they want them to do. It's just they have a way to go around people and to handle people, in some cases even manipulate people, so that they're going to do what the ESTP or the ESFP needs them or requires them to do in that specific setting. That's why they make for great leaders, and they are both leading types. Also, extroverted feeling though has this kind of vibe that wants everyone included, that wants everyone to be part of the community. Extroverted feeling is a kind of all-embracing, big fake love kind of embrace. Let's say it. It's not real love. Real love is something different. It's something deep down in the heart. So, hello, fourth and fifth person that joined tonight. Feel free to say hi and write in the chat. I'm ready for that. Anyway, moving on. We were talking about extroverted sensing and extroverted feeling. Extroverted feeling as the ability to actually be liked by people or actually make an attempt to be liked by people. Extroverted feeling types are those types that are going to go out of their way to be liked by others. So one way that I see extroverted feeling being used in that sense is being people pleasing. So if you go to an extroverted feeling type and you tell them, oh, I like people that have a strong temperament and that stand their ground and know what they want, this person is going to, the extroverted feeling type, if we were talking about a feeler, obviously, they're going to answer you something like, oh, I am a very, very strong person. I always stand my ground. I know what I want and I go for it, because they want you to actually like them. They really deeply, strongly require you to like them. That's an extroverted feeling type. So that's why you will hear them described or addressed to as people pleasers. Guys, just a moment, forgive me the break, but we have the sixth person joining and I'm actually excited about this. I didn't expect so many to join and I'm really happy. So thank you very much for being here. That means a lot to me and I really mean it, because I've wanted to do this thing for so long. And I always said, no, people are not going to be there when I am. So it doesn't make sense to do this, but it actually does. So I hope at some point, it's not going to be just lurkers, but someone will also write to me in the chat. Anyway, yeah, moving on. Back to our ESFPs and ESTPs. So if I agree that it is very good and necessary to know how to handle people and how to move people in a social environment to build a community, and I agree that it is necessary to know how to be liked by others and what to do so that others will like you, it is also necessary to create some sort of peaceful environment. So it's not just 2 or 3 functions that are going to be involved in that thing. I think that an extroverted feeling / extroverted thinking, no, extroverted sensing, sorry, an extroverted sensing / extroverted thinking community can also exist, for example. But introverted intuition also plays a role in this kind of environment. Basically, an INTJ might have a lot of difficulties building a community that is actually a nice place to be. But they might actually achieve it if they have some ESFP help behind their back, because the ESFP is going to help them be liked by others, not directly, obviously. Hey, hello! Thank you for writing me. Who do we have here? Here, hang on. Hello, I always wanted to listen to you go live. Yay! Thank you, Mr. Starbuck. I'm really happy to be here. Actually, I wanted to do this for so long. And Sean Solinger, sorry if I pronounce that wrong. I'm Italian and I live in Italy, so my native language is actually Italian. So, hey, can you explain difference between extroverted feeling and extroverted thinking? Because I'm more confused between those two than introverted feeling and extroverted feeling. Oh, I see your point. That's because the two function, extroverted thinking and extroverted feeling, are actually two sides of the same medal. So if extroverted feeling, like I said, is a way to be liked by others, extroverted thinking, we could consider that a way as a way to be respected by others. So it's two sides of the same coin. Don't get me wrong, because introverted thinkers also care about being respected in their own way. It's just a different kind of thing. So extroverted thinking is more about self-respect than it is about respecting others. And that's difficult to explain. Anyway, extroverted thinking builds rules that lead a community. That's what I was about to say about extrovert thinking communities and ESFPs. So an ESFP's community, or a place where an ESFP is in charge, is going to be a place where there's standard rules for everyone that are not that stable and that strong because of that weak extrovert thinking, but they're going to be there. And at the same time, it's going to be an environment where people move a certain way, which is the way the extrovert feeling, the extrovert sensor wants, the SFP wants. But there's also going to be some kind of behavior on the side of the ESFP to be liked by others. So one thing that ESFPs do a lot, for example, to be liked by others, is to mention how happy they are about others liking them. So that's something that if you do a compliment, if you pay a compliment to an ESFP, they're going to be extremely happy about that, and they're going to express their happiness. Email Anthrax. Hello, hi. The cognitive lady I found. Okay, yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah, I like exploring cognitive functions, actually. Hello, eighth person. Sorry. So we were talking about how the difference between extrovert thinking and extroverted feeling. So extrovert thinking is going, thank you for being impressed with my knowledge. I'm actually not, to be honest. I just like studying things and retelling them. So everything you hear from me is going to be on Wikistation also, and that's where I take most of my sources, and I always check that these things make sense also in psychology. So that's just a passion that I have. So you are an INFJ, so that's great. That's great. We're not going to talk about my type. I don't like telling my type or saying my type or anything. That's just my thing, because people do not actually react well to knowing the type of a streamer or of a YouTuber. So I prefer not to say that and not to mention that. The video is going to be on my channel afterwards. So if you want to go back and re-watch some things, because it's going to be a little bit confusing being here, it's going to be there, and you can go back and read and re-watch. So would I be willing to share sources? I just said that. It's Wikistation. It's the biggest and the most complete, actually, source of socionics knowledge. It's actually very, very broad. You will have to filter a little bit, because obviously not all sources are going to be good or perfect for your needs and requirements, and they're not all right. So you will have to filter a little bit and see what is right and what is wrong. But anyway, yeah, Wikistation is a great source for knowledge about this stuff. I would love to get a chance to talk to you one-on-one anyway. Oh, that's cute, but I don't do that. I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can with anyone, and that's just my thing, because I'm not a very sociable person. I say it a lot. I'm trying to be a little more sociable. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Extrovert thinking versus extrovert feeling. So extrovert thinking is more about rules than it is about people. So it's thinking function. It's having to do with knowledge, as we were talking about. It's having to do with rules that are valid for everyone, that apply to everyone. That's extroverted thinking. You're welcome. So that's extroverted thinking. Rules that apply to everyone. If introverted thinking is my rules, my personal rules that apply to a sort of any situation, extroverted thinking is broad rules that apply to everyone. It's like the law of a country, the international laws, this kind of stuff, all would belong in the realm of extroverted thinking. Whereas extroverted feeling instead feels is more implied into creating the same kind of thing, but on an emotional level. So extroverted feeling creates emotional communities. Mr. Rick, I feel like I have all the functions depending on the situation. I can tell I'm more an ISE, but I still can observe SI and NE. I swear, any advice? So confused. Oh, that's normal. That's normal. That's actually a good thing, Miss Starbuck. That's a good thing because it means that you're actually paying attention to who you are and to what you do. Every type uses every function. So we have an INFJ here, for example. INFJs do use extroverted thinking. It's just they don't use it the same way as an extroverted thinking dominant type would. So an INFJ is going to be concerned about knowing. An INFJ is going to be concerned about knowledge because they don't want to be caught as unprepared. INFJs do not like to be caught unprepared. They're actually extremely curious. They ask thousands of questions, even questions that you would never want to be asked. They're going to ask you. Nerdio, what's the most self-aware type? Later. Wait there. Thank you for writing me anyway. So that's the point. Every type uses every function. It's just the way they do that differs. So if an extroverted thinking dominant type, like an ENTJ and an ESTJ, are going to be able to filter the sources, like I said before, you will have to filter if you actually go read on Wikisauction. So that's making use of extroverted thinking. So you can, if an extroverted thinking dominant type is going to filter their sources, is going to know what the law says, they're going to know what rules apply to everyone. An INFJ does not give importance to that. They do not know what importance to give to that. So an INFJ is not good at picking sources. They can believe pretty much anything until it makes sense to them. Anyway, back to Mrs. Starbuck that said she is confused. Getting to know yourself is an extremely good task. We do a lot of things. We experience ourselves 360 degrees day in, day out, and we act all the time. And our brain is not always set on what the hell we're doing. There's parts of us that act on impulse. That there's parts of us instead that actually act because we decide to do that action. In the subconscious sides, there's things that we actually absorbed from the community around us, from those that are from our environment, the place where we grew up. Some things we absorb because we rejected what is actually around us. So there's a lot of things going on inside of us, and all of these things can be ascribed to one function or the other in one way or another. So that makes it extremely difficult to pay attention to everything and actually spot your type precisely. Obviously, there is, as to go to get to Nadio's question, there are types that are slightly more self-aware, but they're not necessarily always or all of them self-aware. For example, Socionics says that INTJs are supposed to be the top self-aware type. What it actually means is that an INTJ normally doesn't feel like they need Socionics to help them, or Enneagram to help them understand themselves, because they have a clear idea of what they roughly are in society. Actually, there's a lot that they would need to have explained. For example, one thing that happens to INTJs is that they put on a facade that looks to other in a specific way, which can even be extroverted feeling vibing extroverted feeling. And then they cannot handle the backfire of this image, because people will try to pull down and scratch down that facade. So they're going to be uncomfortable about that. And that's one of the reasons why INTJs tend to be very not so sociable. Anyway, INTJ, I would go with INTJ as the wannabe top type that should be self-aware. And other types that I have found actually being self-aware in society are exterior sensing dominants. If they know who the hell they are extremely self-aware, if they know. But the same thing applies actually to everyone. If you want the least self-aware type, that's going to be ESFJs. They're cute, they're fun, they're durable people. They're this kind of Labrador kind of type that is like a puppy that wiggles at everyone and that is so happy and joyful all the time. But they're not self-aware at all. Another type that would be not that self-aware could be the ESTJ. But ESTJs have something on their side. The ESTJs are actually belonging in the quadra. We talk about quadras in socionics. They belong in the quadra that cares the most about personal growth. So the ISTJ is actually the type that is most concerned with personal growth, and the ESTJ follows. So yeah, I think I covered up the questions. Sean Solinger, let me know if I answered your question or not, or if you're satisfied or if you need more. Moving on, what were we talking about? So yeah, ESTPs and ESFPs show and display many differences, but the biggest one that I observed recently is that one. Oh, you're welcome, Nadio. So the one that I observed recently is that one that I just mentioned, that ESFPs will not attempt to be overly diplomatic about how they handle others. They will be open about their preferences, and they will actually show their preferences without concern, whereas the ESTP will try to deny to themselves that they actually have preferences. You're welcome, Mr. Buck. So this is the point. The ESTP needs, for their personal self-esteem, to feel safe in an environment where they're liked by everyone, and making preferences or admitting preferences is going to cause them psychological issues and self-esteem issues. So we don't want like a superhero to have psychological issues. So let's let them do as they feel. Whereas an ESFP's kryptonite would probably be not having people around, or being completely isolated and not having a community where they can dictate their rules, kind of. It's not the only type that has that kind of issue anyway. Sorry, just a second. So ESFPs are not the only type, like I said, in the Socion that have that kind of issue, that they need some people around them. Actually, feeling dominance actually require a lot more. So the ESFP can live in their everyday life with solitude moments. The ENFJ and the ESFJ have a minimum level of socialization requirement. So that's the difference. The ESFP needs a community, needs someone that they can give rules to. So for example, an ESFP streamer, knowing that they have a community of, 2,000 people, they're going to be happy with that, even if they don't actually stream. Whereas the ENFJ and the ESFJ will actually need to go out and meet people and see that they're liked by everyone. Otherwise, they do not exist. That's basically the feeling when you're not using your first function. So what else? This is basically everything. It's already 28 minutes, so it would be one of my long videos, but we talked a little bit about things. So if you have more questions, please feel free to ask. That's what we're doing here, actually. But yeah, I think I would want to read a few lines from my book. I didn't prepare anything, actually. So this is my first book. It's the first book of a trilogy. So I kind of got in this crazy state, and I started writing like crazy. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? It all started when I first thought, hello, ninth person. It all started when I thought that I didn't like some things about the books that I was reading. I love reading romances. So I was like, okay, no, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I was being like a critical bitch. And I'm like, I don't want to be a critical bitch. If I am so good at criticizing others, then it means that I'm ready to write my own thing and publish it and be criticized by others. So if you want to criticize others, put yourself in a position so that, A, You write too? Yeah, I'm a writer. I'm actually a writer. My books are on Amazon anyway. The first book, White Mist, I'm currently translating the second. So yeah, like I said, I decided to write because I thought that if you want to criticize others that have the guts to actually publish something, that's for me. I'm not talking for everyone. Obviously, this is not a general rule that I apply to anyone. That's a critic that I move to myself. I said, hey, Blackie, if you actually want to criticize others, you have to put yourself in a position to be criticized. Can you explain the difference between genders and the same types? That's pretty interesting. I think I'm going to look in my book if I find a passage about Hellerafin. Because Hellerafin and Azras here are basically the same type, and it's a woman and a man. So when you're having to do with, let's see, how do I put it? When you're having to do with male thinkers, you're gonna have kind of rougher and more crude kind of sensation feeling when you're dealing with them than you do when you're dealing with a male feeler. I call male feelers in general female men. And that's my way to distinguish them and to pick them because they have these kind of not effeminate but kind of in that direction kind of behaviors, attitudes all of a sudden out of the blue. So you can see this super testosterone like very masculine guy with big muscles and stuff, and all of a sudden they go like, hey. I don't know how to explain that. It's just they have this weird expressions all of a sudden, and they have this kind of strange behaviors that I would like more likely ascribe to a female, especially when it comes to movies or to crying. Yeah, female man. Email Anthrax. I'm not a writer, but I have started writing using cognitive type and Enneagram to flesh out my characters. That actually works well, and that's what I'm doing too, subconsciously. That's the difference. But I figured out that I'm actually using this stuff to write my characters. So yeah, back to female men. They have this kind of feminine attitude in some way. They're not actually behaving like women or anything. It's just you can see this sweetness coming out of the blue while they're doing stuff. Like the way they smile, the way they wink, it's sweeter than it should be. It's kind of like sweeter than your future, and it's adorable. Actually, it's very cute to look at. Whereas the male thinker is going to be a little bit more rough. Their smiles are going to be masculine 100%. That's basically the difference between an ESFP and an ESTP. The ESTP is going to be male masculinity in a nutshell, whereas the ESFP will be more sweeter, kind of friendlier, and yeah, but sweeter than your future kind of masculinity. So that's one thing. Moving on to women on the other side. What's the difference? So you're going to see thinker females. They're going to be more focused on normally manly topics. So if you see women that have whose main concern is the house money, how to handle house money, how to handle their work, job, career, that strong focus on things that are normally considered in the male department, that's going to be a female thinker. So they have a slightly more masculine approach in that sense. And just to go back to the female men, I call them manly females, so manly women. That's what I call them. Because they actually have this kind of attitude that is crude in some way, that is too strong than it should be, stronger than it should be. So it's like you're dealing with this normal kind of kind person that is even maybe bubbly, and at some point you see this iron rod coming out of the blue and slamming in your face out of nowhere. That's a female thinker. Whereas if we want to talk about female ESFJs, for example, uh, female ESFJs are going to be like the little, they're those kind of kind of women, you know what I mean? Like those women that are all glitter, bubbly, and friendly, and kind, and no makeup, and they will never wear this kind of stuff when they are doing a live with people. So, yeah, that's. I've seen a couple of cosplayers or female cosplayers recently that actually made me think back to this concept. And I'm like, oh, they are so flashy. You can see them from 1,000 miles away. ISFJs and ESFJs, they are probably the top type that cares about their appearance. So they're always going to be perfect in every possible way, physically speaking. So they will have the perfect body shape that they can have, the best body shape that they can have. They will have the best haircut. They're going to be always, they always wear makeup the perfect way. They're always like, they look like they're always going to be on stage and do like a VIP kind of, I don't know what, performance. And they're always ready for that. So they kind of wake up with the and with lapping in makeup, and they start their day in some way. So I know many of them. Some of them can even spend like hours getting ready. I know girls that wake up at 5 to go to work at 9 to do their whole ritual of makeup and stuff. That's not me. That's most definitely not me. Anyway, yeah, some part of me deep down kind of envies them for their ability to actually go through all that ritual and all that stuff every freaking fucking day of the week. Not my thing. So that's most likely, that kind of behavior is most likely ESFJs and and ESFJs and ISFJs, but it's a female thing, female feeler. That's a female feeler. Oh my god, what's going on? I think female thinkers, especially INTJs, are more sociable than men thinkers. Yeah, that's true. But that they figured out the social rules that men thinkers ignore. In a way, it's a facade compared to feeling women. Yeah, I agree with that. Totally. I agree with that, and actually, yeah, nothing. I was thinking something, then it slipped out of my mind. Just a second. It's going to come back as always. Anyway, yeah, I totally agree with what you said, that they create this facade and they actually move through the facade. Yeah, what I wanted to say, it reminds me a little bit of the difference between male and female Asperger's. This is going off topic, obviously, but Asperger people who have the Asperger syndrome, so we're talking autism, high functioning autism. These people kind of have this difference, female and men, women and men, and women actually have a harder, a lower chance to be diagnosed because of that. Because women have a tendency to be pushed by society to find ways around social norms and social rules. So female thinkers will have a higher awareness of social rules than a male thinker. That's true. Remember, when we're talking about these things, it's always hard to pinpoint them exactly and precisely, because we're talking about bell curve. And when you're talking about bell curve, you have more bell curves, one on the other. So you can have, for example, one INTJ woman that never cared about figuring out society and anything, because they were so focused, maybe an INTJ 5, they were so focused about their their studies and the things that they care about and knowledge and all the kind of stuff. Sheldon like Sheldon a little bit, and they never actually figured out anything about society. And then you have a male INTJ who, on the other hand, wanted to have friends and to start socializing a little bit more, like going football, for example. It's not like they're Sarah, hello. That's one of my favorites. Do only TI types believe in coronavirus? No. No. You withdraw that. No. I think TI types are actually the types that believe less in coronavirus. So anyway, going back to what we were talking about, the bell curves being one of the others. So you can have that kind of scenario, but obviously, Sean Solinger, it's not the most common scenario. That's a very rare thing. It can happen though. So it's not that easy to use this kind of tricks that we're talking about to actually type people for that reason. Because if Sean Solinger is perfectly right that women tend to figure out social norms better than men because they're more interested in that, it's not the rule. So there's always exceptions. So yeah. Moving on, I was trying to look for a Hallorfin passage just to show you a female thinker. She's supposed to be some sort of an ESTP or something. Hang on. There's 9 of us. I don't know if I graded the 9th person yet. Anyway, thank you for coming here. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm glad that we're doing this together. Just give me a moment. I'm looking up something. No, it's not there. I'm looking for a passage from my book, for those who weren't here maybe. Because I want to read something about, if I'm not finding it here, I'm going to look it up. Okay, a small passage with Azras. Azras is the male version of Hallorfin. So here is what he says. So this passage is Azras talking to himself. So I do not understand the reactions of the lusty feather chick. This fucking feathery appearance distracts me from her expression, and I cannot feel her desire. For a split second, I'm afraid she does not want me. The last thing I want is to rape her. My father does not approve rape. It was one of the reasons why he was exiled. I have to get to the end of this stupid farce without raping her, or she will not figure out how much she likes feeling pain. If I did my part as well as Lucifer says, the little slut should enjoy every instant, and she should feel guilty for getting off like the whore she is. So this is a hello 10th person. So this is Azras and his way of thinking. I was thinking of ESTP while writing Azras actually, but I don't think I did my job well. It could actually be another type. I'm not entirely sure what type my characters are actually, to be entirely honest. That's funny. I know and I can see that they are a specific type, but I can't tell which one. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see if I can find some Hallorfin stuff here. I should. There's a point where she's criticizing exactly that topic that we just talked about with Azras. Hallorfin Beauchamp. Here we are. Hallorfin Beauchamp is basically one of my favorite characters. Oh my god, I'm so glad you come back time and time again. Yeah. I'm glad to come back to. Sometimes I get lost in my thoughts, and I need to get back on track before I can actually make videos. And when that happens, I'm actually normally analyzing human behaviors in my head and trying to figure out things. So I think I will do this thing more often anyway. I won't say that this will happen every Thursday night, but kind of sort of possible. It's not unlikely that it will happen. So hang on. Hallorfin. So this is instead a Hallorfin passage. So Hallorfin and Azras are the same type, supposedly thinkers. So something is off. I'm sure Princess Gemma got wet on only hearing the hare's name.
Something is up. The protector spoke as if Gemma had been abused, but I'm not convinced. Judging from the looks she exchanges with the demigod of deceit, the poor thing must have been stained with lust, and this pack of retards refuses to admit it. I feel a light pressure to my temples. Who do you side with? Hisses Lucifer's voice in my mind. I hold a laugh. I would gladly pick the side underneath him. On the most convenient side, sir, I reply mockingly. I know well that the double affiliation allows me to choose what I like best at any moment, but I am his follower, and I could never side with his enemies. Lucifer laughs uproariously in my mind. He caught my side when I called him sire. What idea did you get of a little princess? I know what he wants to know. He sure is plotting something, and he wants to know if my smell caught anything. It's pointless to lie. I smelled lust, and not just for you, I say entertained. If that's a seraph, I'm a monk. So this is basically Hierophant. As you can see, there's a very strong parallel with Azras, but I tried to deliver that thing that Sean Solinger was trying to say, a slightly higher inclination to get in touch with people and to get in touch with with society. So there's a higher understanding of people, and her mental analysis of what she has in front of her is not as narrow as Azra's. She actually leaves a room for more possibilities, but she's not entirely focusing on that. Her main focus is that there is a plot going on, and she wants to be part of that plot. So I hope I replied to that and I answered. Any considerations about the two characters that I just read? Sorry about reading aloud in English. It's not my thing. And that's stuff that I translated myself from Italian. Imagine if I had to read something someone else wrote. Anyway, if you have any questions, anything, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to close soon because this thing is becoming very long. Anyway, like I said, I think I will come back probably on a weekly basis doing this thing online. We will find a topic and we start discussing that. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. And when we're going to be when it's January or February 2021, we're moving on Twitch. So get ready. Prepare your Twitch account, subscribe to my Blackie Black Angel account on Twitch, and get ready to be there. Reason is that when we are streaming here on YouTube, everything I can do is sit here, look like an idiot, basically, and answer your questions. Whereas Twitch actually gives me the possibility to show you passages from Wikisaution. For example, we can discuss things, and when you ask me a question, I can show you on Wikisaution the exact passage that talks about that topic. So it's better. Twitch is a lot better for streaming and for this kind of thing. We can watch YouTube videos. You can pass me things that you have questions about. We can discuss things better on Twitch. So next year, I'm getting ready because I need to learn how to actually use Twitch. But next year, we're moving this on Twitch. So yeah, I think we basically covered our topic for tonight. So since I don't see any more questions incoming, Sean Solinger, thank you for being here. Sarah, thank you for joining and for being here. Nerdy O, thank you for coming in. Emil Anthrax, thank you. Miss Starbuck, thank you for being here. All the 8 people, the lurkers, everyone that is watching, and even those who are going to watch later. This was amazing. Thank you, Nerdy O. It was amazing for me too. So, like I said, we will do this on a weekly basis until the end of the year, and then when I'm ready to move on Twitch, we're going to move there. In the meanwhile, please join my Twitch so that I know that I have at least 1 or 2 people there. There actually someone already joined, so thank you very much for joining and for following. It's not about subscription. I never Twitched anything, made a stream on Twitch, so there's no subscription at the moment. It's just basically a matter of using a better environment to communicate. A dream inside a locked room. That's a good place to dream. Anyway, I love your nickname, and thank you for being here. So yeah, this is basically everything. Thank you everyone again for being here. Thank you for making this this live worth it, and for making me happy by joining me and asking me questions. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too, and I will see you probably next week. Oh, by the way, we have someone. We have a by the way. So freeze everyone. By the way, so email Anthrax. We're waiting for you. I believe I know your type now. That's I let you shoot the type and I won't answer. Go ahead. But I'm not telling you. Okay, so you are going to keep it to yourself. Okay, so we accept that. You made us curious, but we accept that. Anyway, so this is basically everything I have for now. I hope to see you next week. I think for the moment I will keep Friday. If you go on my on Facebook and you look up my name, my actual name, you will find that, and it's not hard to tell. My actual name is here. So if you look me up, you're going to find that on my wall. Have a good night to email Anthrax. Have a good night, everyone. I think I will be here next week on Thursday. Same time at 11 p.m. Rome time. So make sure you're going to be there. And in the meanwhile, I will probably make a video with a little bit of ideas, a little more compressed and more usable by everyone else. So thank you again for being here, everyone. And I can find the arrow. Okay, I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.